Hello, Alan Heaton, spiritual healer and psychic medium. Welcome to this video and welcome to my channel. I'd like to talk about a little bit about the message that was in the trance video just the other day. Change is inevitable, and the message from Spirit about what is happening in our world right now from, of course, a spiritual point of view. I'd like to also, to begin with, talk a little about what is happening geopolitically with this COVID situation, the astrological background which supports the spiritual message, and finally what we really need to be aware of from a spiritual standpoint as a person trying to live a spiritual oriented life. A little bit maybe about my background again. I'm from England originally. I live in Germany. I've been here for 30 years. I began working with energy properly in 2004. That means I started to do courses here in Germany and also in England at the Arthur Findlay College, both in spiritual healing, in mediumship and trance healing, and trance mediumship and trance speaking. When I was younger, I worked in the City of London for 16 years in the commodity markets, and that's where I began to learn how the world really works, how the money flies around, the kind of influences that various players have, and so on and so forth. And having been a very inquisitive person from a young age, I absorbed everything I could about how the world really does work and not what we're told at school, college, university, and certainly not in the mainstream media. So over the years I have acquired a lot of information and a very good understanding about what is going on. And what is going on right now, geopolitically, is an attempt to centralize everything. The financial system, the central banking, government, vaccine passports, which are, of course, a kind of control mechanism, nothing to do with health at all, and so on and so on. And so we have a significant element in the financial, industrial elite, if you like, using their major front people, which would of course include people like Bill Gates, various speakers from the World Economic Forum, foundations like the Rockefeller Foundation, the mainstream media, the political leaders, the European Union, and unfortunately also the leaders of organizations like the World Health Organization, pushing this agenda and pushing fear and the idea that we all must have to have a vaccination so that we can get rid of what is really a very moderate kind of virus that has been pumped up and hyped up to be something far, far worse than it really is. And we can see mounting resistance to this. And they are going to fail. They're going to fail in their goals of major centralizations of power because the resistance is building up and is supported by the universe, the astrological setup, and Spirit. This is a great time of transformation. And what Spirit is telling us is that this is an opportunity to move forward, to bring down the old structures that have maybe, you could say, served us to some extent for a while as we were growing consciously, but are no longer of any use. And this will, of course, then give us the chance to build something new. So we're seeing this increasing friction between the controllers and those who don't want to be controlled. The astrological setup supports this. Back in January last year, there was a very significant constellation when Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn all came together in Capricorn for the first time for thousands of years. And Capricorn represents power. That means government and the layers of power above government. And to cut it short, this constellation and also what is still happening astrologically supports basically what I just said. This is a significant time in history. A major event has happened, and that is this virus appearing, which enabled the powers that be, we'll call them that, to impose lockdowns, coordinated lockdowns, social distancing, mask wearing, and promote staggering amounts of fear, try to implement a compulsory vaccine policy, vaccine passports for this, that and everything. You won't be able to go anywhere unless you've had your vaccine. And this is gradually being seen by an increasing minority of people, still a minority, unfortunately, but an increasing amount of people, as a power play, which it is. It's a pure power play, a geopolitical, financial, industrial power play. And the astrology says that we're going to continue to see waves of truth coming out, increasing waves of truth, exposing what has been hidden to the majority of people for so long, with the corruption at high levels behind the scenes, or even at middle levels of the hierarchy, of the pyramid. And it's going to be probably quite chaotic for a while. We can help the process move along by not resisting, by going along with it, by looking at ourselves. And this is where the message from Spirit comes in. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that the new normal, the great reset, build back better are good ideas. They're all bad ideas, and they're all about taking away our freedoms and building a kind of feudalist, totalitarian, 1984 style state. Spirit says we need to go inside and look at our lives. What is important for us? Are we happy with ourselves and our inner satisfaction, our levels of happiness and joy? Do we have the right people around us? Are we in a job that brings us satisfaction? Perhaps we have the right kind of job, the right profession, but we're working at the wrong company or for the wrong department, living in the wrong place. So where would we really like to be? Where would we like to live? What kind of people do we want around us? Do we have that support team that supports our spiritual growth? Have we got the kind of job that we really want, that supports our values, supports our principles? Are we working for a company or a government department which supports, which is in line with our values? If not, then we have to look at how we can move towards being in that kind of situation we'd like to be in. Doesn't mean we have to resign our job tomorrow and run off somewhere else. We have to think about this carefully and come up with some kind of plan. And Spirit supports this. Those of us who talk about these kinds of things, of course, will be considered by the vast majority of people to be slightly off our rockers, a bit weird. That's how it goes. We have to live with that. But we must have confidence in our message. We must try and live what we are preaching. None of us are, of course, anything like perfect. We all have to work continually on ourselves. But this is the direction that Spirit is going to support us in going in. If we resist, then you know what happens. We find ourselves getting into difficulties. If we try and continue with the old ways, Spirit will find ways of making it difficult for us. So the message from Spirit here is, change is inevitable. This is an incredible period to be alive, and really many of us have probably chosen to be here or been asked to be here at this particular time to help humanity move through it, to help humanity realize what is happening and to help guide people through this. Raising the energy of the planet, partly by our own ways, our own actions, our own thoughts, taking part in group meditations, simply meditating ourselves and sending out energy, maybe to a particular place in the world at the moment where there's conflict, or particular groups of people, or just to the earth in general when there's a big group of people meditating at the same time. That's very powerful. That brings me to the end of this video. I'd just like to say that I work as a spiritual healer and a psychic medium. If you would like any further information on what I offer, it's on my website, alan-heaton.de. I also have this YouTube channel, Alan Heaton Spirit Calling. Please feel free to email if you need any or would like any further information. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you again next time.